I'm going to take it to your questions now in the Q&A, and we have a we have a we're going to get started now with the first question, and this question is from the Brave Partnership. What is your view on accepting LinkedIn connections? Would you just accept anyone, or should you be picky? That's a good question.
I mean, so I always say when it comes to women, be more, I mean, for men, you need to be careful as well, but for women, be particularly careful because there are a lot of people trying to be inappropriate on LinkedIn. So the things I always check for are who are the mutual connections. If it's all women, it's a no from me. I also check for where they're from, and that's not in a racist way. That's in a, am I legitimately going to be able to do business with this person? I literally never have done any business or had any clients in certain areas of the world. And that doesn't mean that I'm not going to connect with them, but I am now nearing my limit with LinkedIn connections.
Okay.
The limit is 30,000. So now I'm
Really?
starting to be like, am I likely to be able to have this person as a client? If I'm not, it's probably going to be a no. There are certain places where I just think you're never going to be a client. The industry that you're in makes you very highly unlikely to be a client. So I think the 4 categories I suggest: are they your ideal client? Are they likely to be connected to your ideal clients? Because the organic reach means that if they're engaging with you, they're probably showing your content to their connections.
Yeah.
Are they adding something to your experience on LinkedIn and making it more enjoyable? Are you learning something from them? Are they entertaining? Then yes, they'd be welcome in my network. Or are they highly engaged? Are they commenting lots and therefore helping me to be seen by more people? If they don't fit into at least one of those categories, it's a no from me. So I hope that helps. But that's the kind of rules that I work on. If they're not going to be useful in your network, don't bother. It's just fantasy numbers otherwise.
I think people should take that same strategy and apply it to Instagram as well. I try to do the same, and that's why my following is generally small. I generally try to connect with everybody that I follow. And I think I could stand here and say that on live that if I'm following you, we've had a conversation probably within the past 60 days. And I mean a genuine
Wow.
conversation because I'm trying to actually contact and have build relationships with everybody. So I take your
That's
advice
content.
very
Yeah.
seriously as well because
Yeah.
we kind of get into this whole number game thing where it's, the more followers and the more people that we're following, we look better. And the whole vanity metrics, I'm not here for. You're trying to provide a business. You're trying to
I
create a
had a
business.
conversation with a guy, another LinkedIn trainer on LinkedIn today, a guy called John Asperian. And we had this exact conversation because he's got quite a large following and obviously mine's even bigger. And we both were sort of lamenting on the fact that we're getting to the point where it's becoming unmanageable. Our DMs, our comments, our notifications, we can't do it all ourselves. And we both of us absolutely love our communities and they are why we are on LinkedIn. And it's now becoming a struggle because we're getting to a point where it's like, we cannot reply to every comment. We cannot reply to every DM. We want to because we value our communities, but it's physically impossible to manage it. So do we just abandon them or do we hire somebody to help us? And we're both in that sort of quandary at the moment as to what we do because we're losing what we started using the
Yeah.
platform for.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah. And it's a good problem to have, to be able to say you've reached that point where you could actually have to consider either A or B. But it's a problem nonetheless that has to be resolved. And hopefully for the best of your actual audience as well.
Yeah, well, that's it.
So
But also bearing in mind that I am a lone parent with 2 bonkers dogs, a child, a home to run, buying a house, running a business, scaling it. And I've got other projects that nobody knows about yet that are going on in the background that are big. So there's a lot going on. I'm like, and getting back to messages from some of them strangers, it can't be a priority. But at the same time, I feel the pressure that I want to be able to do that. So I'm working on it. We'll find a solution at some point.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So we'll go to our next question after that now. This one hails from Maxi Palooza. How does someone from an academic background make their move into the industry? What advice would you give them? I am making my move and having an academic background and leaving for industry. I am being looking for as a trader. Any advice in the matter would be appreciated.
I don't think I really understand the question. Into what industry?
Yeah, I'm not. I'm assuming the individual means the social media industry, and I'm only assuming that because that's what we're kind of both in. How does someone from an academic background make their move into the industry? I'm going to kind of take that question just as it's stating there with social media as the industry that he's referring to, and if that is the question, I would say use what you've learned from
Oh
academia.
no, he's just put in the post from science to engineering. I mean, I couldn't tell you. I don't know. I'm not really up on engineering, but I would say if you're trained in engineering and you're trying to find work in the engineering industry, you need to start engaging with people within the engineering industry in the sectors that you want to work in, and start building relationships with those people, learning from them. And you know, if you build those relationships, then when opportunities arise, they'll hopefully put you forward for them. Guys,
Yes, I think I would follow up and agree with you on that. Get to build those connections, that network. It might lead to an apprenticeship or an internship where you get to
yeah,
kind of actually start to meet more people outside of the actual social media network that you're in. Now you get to meet people face to face because a lot of people forget there is an outside world beyond the phone, beyond
what?
the
Don't tell them
sometimes.
that.
I don't know what people were thinking. I mean, I know we were locked in our homes for a while, but there is a world outside that you could actually talk to somebody face to face. But I think that that might lead to those type of connections as well. If I am reading your question properly, I think that would
Yeah, I
be
would say
the
update your
best way.
profile on LinkedIn to reflect what you're looking for if you're at that point where you can. Um, and go and find those people, engage on their content, message them when it feels appropriate, add thoughtful comments to what they're posting, and get them to notice you. And do that regularly. Do it once a week. Go and check up on these people. Go and
Yeah,
post, comment on something, and start building those relationships and that trust with them. And then when you get ready to sort of send them a message, you're not a stranger anymore.
exactly. You got to move from that stranger world. Don't be in stranger danger when you ask
It's a
that
warm,
request.
it's a warm, warm message. Then when they
Yes.
receive it, they're open to having conversations with you because they know your name.
Yep. Absolutely. Thank you for that question. We will go to the next one. Let's see. We got a few more coming in. I think from the same, no, from
It's all
someone
right. I'm not in
else.
a rush if you're not. So, what's the
No, no
long story
rush.
about getting banned from Tinder? Um,
Oh, yeah, I was gonna ask this, but I said I was gonna leave it alone.
yeah. So, I back in the day when I did the whole dating app thing, which I've long abandoned now. I was using it quite regularly, and someone I was messaging wasn't very pleasant, so I just started kind of fucking with him, not literally, like just having a joke and being a
Mhm.
bit sassy. And he reported me as a catfish and said I wasn't a real person, and they banned my account,
Really?
and I never appealed it. So yeah,
Oh,
so
so
I
you
got
had the
banned for being a
opportunity to
catfish on
appeal it.
Tinder. Sorry,
You had the
I what?
opportunity to appeal it.
No, I didn't. I think I probably could have emailed them and appealed the decision, but I
Yeah.
never bothered because I didn't really enjoy Tinder anyway. So
Uh,
banned from
that,
Tinder. That's going on my gravestone.
yeah, I think that should be a status update. Pin from
Greatest
Tinder.
achievement. Yeah.
Succeeding on LinkedIn. Yes, there we go. Nice one. I was gonna ask that question because I did see it. And I'm like, I'm just gonna leave that
Oh
alone. If
no, it's
somebody
fine.
does, if somebody
There's no
questions it,
secrets
it's
with me.
fine. We'll go to Christine Lowe Evo, I believe. Are you more or less personal on one platform or the other?
I'm definitely more personal on Instagram. You'll see in my stories, you get more of me, the behind the scenes, my dog's running around, my son running around, you know, things like that. You'll get more of that. Like I'll sometimes put a video if I've run a relaxing bath. I would never put that on LinkedIn because I would just get a barrage of love hearts in my Instagram, in my LinkedIn inbox. And I just, it drives me mad when people just constantly reply to every single story with a love heart all the time. It's just like, oh. God, can you not? Because like this is now a red dot on my phone or an unread message in my inbox that someone's got to
Yeah.
go through. It's just anyway, yeah. So you definitely get more of me behind the scenes, and LinkedIn are actually getting rid of their stories feature. So you won't get any behind the scenes stuff from me on LinkedIn at all. So it will only be on Instagram that you see that stuff. But I do like to be able to get a little bit more personal. And I'm also a little bit more rude on Instagram because there are limitations on LinkedIn with what you can say and do. So you'll get the occasional swear word from me. And, you know, the carousel that I posted today on Instagram, I wouldn't post that on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Because some Karen would go, it's so offensive. So,
And then you're banned off of LinkedIn, just like Tinder.
yeah, right. Well, I've already been banned from LinkedIn a few times, so
Really?
yeah, there.
Oh,
Yeah,
we'll get into
I
that
got
one.
banned, and it was in the newspaper in the UK, and it was
Really?
all because they banned me for having a rainbow emoji in my name. So I was in a very sassy mood, and they were like, it has to be your legal name to have. Whatever you have as your name on LinkedIn has to be your legal name. And so a group of people had reported me because they're jealous, weird, like there's a group of people who just sort of targeted me and mass reported me for having an emoji in my name. So I got banned and locked out of my account because it wasn't my legal name. So I logged on to the government website and legally changed my name to Leah Rainbow Turner. And as a result of that, I then wrote to LinkedIn and was like, I've changed my name legally. Can I have my rainbow emoji back? And I posted it and it went viral. And then they apologized and said I could have it back. But the newspaper picked it up and it was all over Lad Bible and yeah. And the Daily Mirror in the UK. My mum was like, someone came up to me and said my daughter was in the Daily Mirror. I was like, sorry, Mum. By the way, Mum, I've got rid of that name you gave me and I've chosen a new one.
Yeah, that's harder to explain. It's to your mom, not to anybody else on LinkedIn or the newspaper.
Another level of pettiness. I was just like, I'm not having this.
Nice.
So,
That's how
yeah,
you give it to the man right there. Well, I'm loving these anecdotes that we're getting on the side as well from the question. The next question is it's Tim Beeler. What's the difference between connections and followers on LinkedIn?
Okay, so if the people that you're connected to, you can see their content in your feed and you can see their content in your feed. Just like Instagram, if you're both connected, you see each other. If someone follows you, they can't necessarily message you unless you have an open profile, but you can only do that if you've got a premium account. So if I follow you, your content will appear in my feed, but you're not going to see mine. But if we're connected, we see each other. So connect is literally, it's just a two-way connection and we can see each other and we can message each other freely. If it's follower, it's just one way.
Nice. I hope that clears it up. That was actually a question that I had
Nice.
not too long ago, and I had to look it up to figure it out because, like, just coming from Instagram, I would have assumed it was vice versa. But every
I
platform
think
has different terms.
people are conflicted over whether they should have the follow or connect button. I always had the connect button until I got to about 10,000 followers. And then I was like, I'm getting so many on a daily basis that this is getting a bit silly now. So I've switched it over to follow to encourage people, if they don't need to actually speak to me and they're only interested in following my content, just follow me rather than connect with me. Because while I have no problem with people following me, I do not want 40 graphic designers from the Middle East whose content isn't relevant to my needs filling up my newsfeed when I'm trying to engage with my ideal clients. So it's not that I don't appreciate them following me, but I need to have in my newsfeed people that I know I'm going to be able to build business relationships with. So that's really all it is.
All right, cool. I love the breakdown. Thank you for that. Our next question. Let's see how many we have. I have two more questions at the moment. From Mrs. Flint 90. Business
Shakira.
post flop, personal post much better. Is this normal?
Yes, and that's why the best way you can create is to do content that mentions your business but also is personal. So you can make personal posts include something about your business, and make your business posts include something personal. And that's why whenever I write a salesy post, I do it with character and personality. But don't worry, one of my posts yesterday, I did a sales post about my digital course, and it's the lowest engagement I've got for ages, but it made me $2,500. Doesn't matter the engagement, it's what you get business wise. Like, I sold a whole load of my courses from it. I booked some coaching sessions. It's not always the business posts that get big engagement, but they'll be seen by the right people. You post the personal stuff, or the stuff that gets bigger engagement, to stay visible, to stay relevant, to stay present in people's feeds. And then when you post a business post, whether they engage on it or not, they're much more likely to see it.
Absolutely.
And the lurkers will see it.
Oh yeah, of course. Now, in regards to that, because I've always heard this strategy: for every 4 posts that you create, 3 should be personal, 1 should be business. This is particularly on Instagram. Would you agree with that?
I mean, I don't really do the whole strategy thing, but I think that's probably a good. I wouldn't say that's necessarily the formula on LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn, you need to have a fairly even balance. And ideally, if you can cross the 2 sections over, that's even better. So, just signed 3 amazing clients this week. It's been so successful. Really feeling buzzy after this week. Now I'm going to the pub to enjoy a pint. How are you celebrating your week this week? So you're bringing a bit of personal life into it, and you can ask people a question to engage their audience, but you're also going, had a great week at work, and by default telling people that you're good at what you do without saying I'm brilliant at what I do. You're implying it. So you're mixing the 2 together. I think that's the key way to do it on all platforms, is to be you, so you can do business with your own personality. And that's the ideal way of doing it. But yeah, I think on Instagram, I don't have a formula for it. Most of my stuff is business related, and my captions are with a bit more personality. My reels tend to be a bit more personal. So yeah, I think 3 and 1, or 2 and 2. I think it depends on what your audience are responding best to. I guess it's keeping an eye on those insights and making sure that you're catering to what you know that they like.
Yeah, it seems like Luke Weston is in agreement in regards to TikTok. He says you be personal and talking about something potentially depressing, and you get millions of views. I have no idea about that, as much as I have an
I've only
account
ever
on
got
TikTok.
millions of views. I've only ever gone viral once. Well, actually, a couple of times on TikTok, and it's always been like funny stuff or like empowered women stuff. One of them was a very funny video, but it was like one of those ones that you record in 10 seconds, put it live, and it suddenly explodes. And it was completely relevant to my brand. So it was useless. That's why it looks like I've got loads of followers on TikTok. I'm like 12,500 followers on TikTok, but it's completely useless because it was one viral video. Yeah, I'm not a TikTok person yet. I'll get there eventually.
Me neither. I mean, that same thing. I will get there eventually. I will make the move eventually. The next question from IJLal420. Should we create the content already been created? It's difficult to come up with different every time. I'm assuming are they talking about like original content?
Talking about repurposing content, I think. You can absolutely repurpose content as long as you're talking about repurposing your own content, not copying other people's content. I think it's great to be inspired by other people's content, but always coming up with your own original versions, and written your own way with your own graphics. I think that's important. But yeah, you can absolutely repurpose content that you use on Instagram for LinkedIn. If you're focusing on, like for you're creating content about Instagram, you could be teaching people how to use Instagram, but do it on LinkedIn, because there's a lot of people on LinkedIn that are curious, just like there's a lot of people on Instagram that are curious about LinkedIn but feel intimidated by it. You've got the people that are comfortable with LinkedIn who feel intimidated by Instagram because they don't understand it. I'm now crossing over between the 2 and really enjoying the experience. I like the differences, but I like what I already know that are similar. So I think there's a lot of content that I do put on Instagram that I repurpose in a written format or in a video format. Reels have done really well for me on LinkedIn, posting the odd 30-second tutorial.
Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely. But it helps people to learn something in 30 seconds. Who doesn't want to do that? And it's unusual on LinkedIn. You don't see that much of it. So you stand out a bit more. So yeah,
That's nice tidbits.
yeah, you
I hope
definitely can
everybody's paying
repurpose
attention.
content.
Very good. I like that. To answer that, I would even go further. It doesn't just have to be Instagram or LinkedIn. I mean, you could
Yeah,
I take content from my Instagram and I post it on Pinterest, and it does pretty okay there. I need to be a little bit more engaged on Pinterest, but the same way we're talking about with
I
Reels
have
on
no
LinkedIn.
idea how Pinterest works.
Oh,
I
Pinterest
literally
is
just go on and look at interior design. I wouldn't even know if you could comment on stuff on Pinterest. So
I love Pinterest. It's just that if I get sucked into Pinterest, like a whole day goes by, and then I'm like, what was I doing originally? It's so easy to get sucked into Pinterest.
yeah, with
But
my ADHD, trying to split myself between different platforms and like trying to focus on any project for a long time, especially when it's boring, like filling in all my mortgage stuff at the moment, like, oh my God. And I'm distracted every 5 minutes by something. So yeah.
we got two more questions
Okay.
from Luke Weston. Always thought LinkedIn was for professional content, so I didn't post. I thought my content was a little
My
wild, but the wild
BFFs in the
content gets
comments
me work.
being high
How
tech.
wild should I go?
How wild should you go? Don't go so wild that you get banned. So the things that you're going to get banned for, the things that you will get banned for on LinkedIn are swearing. It won't necessarily automatically trigger your ban, but if someone decides to take offense to it, it will get your post taken down. And there will be people going, oh, well, I've sworn in my post. Yeah, you have, and it's not been picked up, but it can be picked up. It can be picked up by the automation, or one person can report it and it will be removed. So it's better to try and use creative words, which is what I do. And it's a bit more fun like that anyway, because people know what you mean, but they can't do anything about it because you haven't actually been offensive. Anything that's gratuitous or of a sexual nature will get you banned. It will get removed and it potentially will get you banned. And that even includes silly drawings, implied rude content, that can get you banned. Anything that is shaming or defaming somebody else can also get you banned. So to just be careful. Wild is fine, but you've got to remember on LinkedIn that the organic reach is much bigger than with Instagram, and it's much more of a professional environment. So people are going to see it that wouldn't necessarily understand the context. So you have to bear in mind that people from different cultures that are going to take things in different ways are potentially going to see it. Yeah, modeling and photo shoots, yes. If it is implied nudity, if it's nudity, you will have it removed. One of my friends had a photo removed just because she had a lot of cleavage showing. Bikinis are fine. Yeah, I can just see the comments there. I think bikinis are fine, but if it's like a very teeny tiny bikini, probably not. And if you're posting photos like that, you are going to get a huge surge of people who are not your ideal clients making inappropriate comments on it. So, just be aware of that. There is quite a culture of that on LinkedIn sometimes, and it can be unpleasant to navigate.
That's very unfortunate, but very important information to keep in mind. So Luke and everybody listening, that's something to pay focus to in regards to when you're putting out content on LinkedIn. One of the many differences between LinkedIn and Instagram, because I would say Instagram sometimes is a little bit too free with certain things that they put up. And I've seen content as old as 8 years get taken down. So,
Wow.
it being 2021, it could have been 8 years ago, and you might get a little flag for that now.
I do
Which,
actually prefer Instagram's way of minimizing bullying, where you can restrict certain comments showing certain words, and I would take that over to LinkedIn if I could, because the amount of times that I'll post a picture and I'll just get a load of random men going, cute, beautiful, pretty, nice eyes, and I'm like, I don't want you saying that on a professional platform where my clients are there. It just feels really creepy, and I don't
yeah,
want comments like that. I don't really want them anyway. I'm not posting for other people's validation of how I look. I'm posting to show my face and my brand, not to get compliments from men. So it's just it is unfortunate. That was definitely something that I'd like to take over to LinkedIn, is being able to filter comments and just restrict what's visible, for sure.
cool. LinkedIn, if you're listening, there you go. There's a
I was so
tidbit right
amazing.
there.
Yeah.
All right, so we got one more question in the Q&A. This is from Mike Walters. Leah, do you recommend turning off the X also commented on notifications on LinkedIn? Seems like a big
Yeah.
yes.
I mean, you can imagine if I left mine on, the amount of, I do turn that off. I also turn off the birthday notifications. When people randomly tag you in posts, I go and untag myself because not relevant to the post. They're just trying to hijack my engagement. So thanks for coming, Buds.
Thanks, Bud.
One of my
Nice.
followers is yeah, definitely, Mike, turn it off. It's just annoying. You don't need to know every single person that's commented on a post after you. And especially if you've commented one of my posts, Jesus, I'm so sorry how many notifications you would get. Like, your whole notification box explodes because you've commented on one of my posts. Yeah, turn that off.
All right, so there we go. You got to turn those off. So, guys, thank you very much for the questions that you've given us to answer, and those were some very informative answers. Indeed, I know I learned a lot because I am very restrictive on LinkedIn. I use it once in a blue. I've been starting to pick it up a lot more, especially after I picked up on your profile. It actually made me go back to LinkedIn and start figuring out certain things that I could have done before that I wasn't aware of. So thank you for that.
Good.